Welcome back. Greg, I can always just feel you looking at me, and I can feel the, shall we say, criticisms?
Criticism?
Jokes, pranks.
It's love?
Yeah, all love.
Admiration?
Love, admiration. What? Did you know Scott Clifton well before we interviewed him? Just from being on Y&R and B&B and...
Well, like even before that, I think we talked about this where we used to all go to ABC in Burbank.
Oh, right, for the judge.
And I remember meeting him there.
Yeah.
And we had started around the same time. So, but I didn't know him well.
Yeah.
And, but...
He has a warmth about him, unlike you.
A talent, unlike you. Go ahead. Who's going to win?
A sexiness, unlike you.
Rebecca. Oh. A sense of humor, unlike you. So here's my question. Are you doing anything story-wise right now that is something you haven't done before, something that's challenging you in any way?
Well, I had broken heart syndrome, which...
Is that something that happens to very old people?
It's a real thing, and I know it is a real thing, but for some reason saying it makes me laugh, and it's terrible. I'd be on set, and I'd have to say, because of my broken heart syndrome, and I would just start to laugh. I don't know why.
Do you...
Anyway, that was challenging for me to say it, not to play it necessarily, but...
And how does that manifest? What happens when you have broken heart syndrome?
Well, there are various symptoms. It can mimic like a heart attack. A heart attack, yeah.
How is it presenting for Taylor?
It manifested in her heart racing, being breathless. She fainted.
Yeah, that's not interesting. Let's talk about something else.
Let's talk about you. How is days going for you?
It's going. I have. I'm sort of in a love triangle.
Mm-hmm.
We're so far ahead. I can't really.
Yeah,
can't say too much.
I know.
But I'm getting to work with some really fun people.
That's one thing I found fascinating about Scott Clifton, that he doesn't look at his line. Like,
That was bonkers.
He doesn't look at his lines before the day.
Right. Everybody has their own process.
Right. And you know what?
Still,
I give him a lot of credit for that, because I could not do that.
I didn't want to get too in the weeds on that, but I was like really fascinated by so you can just look at it before you shoot it and run lines in that 5 or 10 minutes that they're setting up a shot. Mm-hmm. But yeah, that was crazy.
I mean, I understand what he's saying, that you read it over and over and over, because sometimes I'll read it over and over, and I'm not going to say it out loud with anybody, and then I get to set and I'm like, oh, I thought I knew this,
right?
And I don't know it as well. But then I have to just trust that it's in there.
Has your process of memorizing lines and prepping for the next day of work, has that changed over the years?
Well, it has, because I've gotten older.
Becky Joe, I hadn't noticed.
And it gets a little more challenging. I think also, and you may agree with this, maybe not, but when you have a child, half of my brain is kind of with her.
Sure.
Even if it's not conscious, it's subconscious. It's always what is she doing? Is she okay? What's her day like tomorrow? And that kind of thing. So I'm sort of half there and half in, half out. So it's harder to focus, I'd say, than it used to be.
I get that.
With no distractions, being able to just look at my lines and.
I think it's where what your bandwidth is, right?
Yeah.
And there's more on the plate.
Yeah.
There's less time to focus. It's funny. I just had a conversation with Billy Flynn about this, who has just left
I know. I met him in the parking lot.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, and we were talking about you, our mutual connection to you. And I was saying how sorry I was that he had to know you.
Well.
Oh my gosh.
Lovely guy.
Wow.
Lovely guy.
Wow.
Yeah.
He is really something.
Yeah.
In the 2 minutes that I met him, I was like, he's a really handsome fella.
Very handsome.
Very charming. Very
talented.
Down to earth.
Yeah. Wonderful guy. You would think he's our guest today. He's not. But no.
But our guest today is, oh no.
I have more to say.
Yeah, okay.
No, he was saying that for him, because he was playing Chad Demira for over a decade, he could he could just look at the lines a little bit before, and it was like the back of his hand. And he's having not a harder time, but it's more of a challenge now at Y&R because he's still figuring out who the character is.
Yeah.
And I said, we're having like the opposite lived experience, because anytime I go back to Y&R, I can look at the scenes and know the lines in a matter of minutes. And even though I've been playing this role for a while, it is harder for me, and I have to spend a lot more time committing it to memory.
That's interesting. Yeah. You're right, because when I played Greenlee, it was much easier to memorize, because it all, I don't know, you get used to that voice. And when you play it for so long, you get used to that voice. And the young brain
that we're both, that we both had when you were Greenlee and I was Kevin. Anyway.
Are you admitting that you're old? Older?
Older than I was, yes. But not as old as you.
No, never. Never.
Do you have a favorite
Psycho.
Hitchcock movie?
I loved Psycho. I loved Psycho. Yeah. I think it's a great movie. I haven't seen all of his movies.
Have you seen The Birds?
No.
Birds is a good one.
No. Have you? What is your favorite?
I don't know. Maybe The Birds. Maybe The Birds. North by Northwest. Is that Hitchcock? Yeah, maybe North by Northwest.
Yeah, that's one I should see, because I think I've heard that one's like one of the best ones.
It's remarkable.
What about Marnie?
I have not seen Marnie.
I think
maybe
we should have a movie night and watch Marnie
together,
so we can watch our next guest. Yeah, together.
Huh. I was into it for a second.
Well, we can. We'll sit on opposite ends of the couch.
I can do that. Okay, but you were saying we could see our next guest.
Our next guest.
Yes.
Melody Thomas Scott.
Correct.
Who you worked with for so
many
years.
She's incredible.
Yeah.
So we're going to welcome her in just a minute. But how about we do a little trivia first?
All right.
You have your wallet?
At this point, I'm
you
going to bring
should
money
just
next
Venmo
time.
me.
Venmo you? Yeah, that's what the cool kids do these days, right? Or Zelle.
Or Zelle.
Which I don't have.
You do. It's on your bank app. Okay. This character is widely considered to be the first to grow up in real time on a soap. And name the soap and name the character.
Erica Kane, All My Children.
Wow.
What?
100% incorrect.
Okay, so what is it?
The answer, are you ready?
Yeah.
I have the answer right here.
Can you see?
I can see.
Do you need some glasses?
I do, but I can still
anywhere?
see. Okay, you ready?
Yep.
The character of Amy Ames from The Secret Storm is widely considered the first actor to play the same role from childhood into adulthood without being rapidly aged.
Okay, I don't remember anything before Guiding Light. Have you heard of The Secret Storm?
But maybe somebody listening or watching has, and
maybe
they'll appreciate the shout out.
They'll look it up.
Yeah.
I think it's cool. It's
you
interesting.
Should look it up.
All right. Well, we will be right back with our next guest, Melody Thomas Scott. Welcome back to Soapy, Greg. You and our next guest actually know each other.
That's right. We've worked together for many years on The Young and the Restless, but her illustrious career began way before that with Alfred Hitchcock's Marnie. She has stabbed Clint Eastwood with a sewing needle, and she's been charming audiences and the many men of Genoa City for decades now. Welcome to Soapy, the lovely, the beautiful Melody Thomas Scott.
Thank you. It's
Thanks
so
for being
nice
here.
to
Thank
be
you for
here.
being here.
Yeah, you and I go back way back. You're such a sweetheart. You're like my brother.
And it's crazy.
We just met.
I know. We
today.
have been in the business for, well, I have not been
crazy
doing soaps for 46 years now, right?
Correct.
46.
Yeah.
Which is just,
Well, the daytime community is pretty.
That's amazing. I know we're
small,
tight, and we haven't
and
met.
we've never come across each other. So, see, this was meant to be. Kismet.
I feel so honored to have you here.
So do I.
Well, thank you.
I also feel to that point that even when you don't know people in the community, because we read the Soap Digest and Soaps in Depth, I feel like I know everyone, even the people who I don't formally know.
Right.
So,
And also through other people.
Correct.
Because everyone's friends with, right? Like, a lot of my old fellow...
Very incestuous.
My fellow co-stars at All My Children, like Amelia Heinle is on your show now.
Oh,
and
she's my
I worked with her.
heart.
I love...
I adore her.
Adore.
She is like an angel from heaven. From the first day that I met her, and she had a hard job. She had to come in and replace Heather Tom.
Not easy.
And she did a hell of a job.
Yeah.
And there was just something so angelic about her. I did then, and I still do, want to be within her airspace, if that makes any sense, because it's rarefied.
yes.
And
She's got
I love-
great energy. She's just fun and
adore
funny,
her.
and we laughed the whole
Yes.
time. Like I saw her and Melissa Clarigan, and we were all on the
sure.
show together.
Yeah, yeah.
And we were in the hallway, and we were just laughing and laughing and laughing. It was just like the good old days. So yeah.
But that's such a good point, because Heather is so wonderful, but to come into that role the way she did, and from the moment she stepped into that role, to occupy that space the way in which she did, and just made it her own, and said, this is now my arena. She's remarkable.
And the scenes she had were difficult. Victor and Nikki go to see her in Florence, and there she is being an artist with all of her easels. And she had some very emotional scenes. On her first day, she had to, stand there and cry, and she was nervous about us. And I mean, she's just remarkable.
Yeah.
Aw, that's so sweet.
I feel like we'll circle back to this later, but one of my favorite things to do when I'm on that set is to watch you, Eric, Amelia, and Josh rehearse.
He's told me this like multiple times.
I mean, you would think if someone just dropped you in, you would think you were on the set of a multicam sitcom, but you all but the chemistry between the two, you and Eric, but also between the four of you, is so organic and so real, and the fun you all have. And I've often thought, like, because you can all go off into space with.
Oh, we often get in trouble. Directors are coming out. Hey, knock it off! Come on.
But don't you think in some way that getting as far out as they're willing to let you go, and then tape is rolling?
Sometimes you have to do that to get the humor of it out of your system or whatever it is, so that when the camera is rolling, then we can be
ground it.
serious. Exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know what that's called, but that's a very true thing that happens.
Well, but I think but the chemistry of the way in which the four of you managed to do all that together and then come back down and find the reality. Yeah, I don't know what it's called either.
We four have been Newmans for a very long time.
Yeah.
Well, and he said you're very funny, very, very funny. You guys are all laughing, and you've been doing this character for 46 years. It's just insane. Did you ever want to do comedy?
I didn't want to take this job on Y&R because that same week I had gotten an NBC sitcom pilot. Mind you, just a pilot. No guarantee of anything.
Right.
I wanted to do the sitcom.
Wait, weren't you recurring on the Waltons at this time too?
Yeah, but it wasn't on contract. It was recurring, but not on contract. So I could leave the Waltons and go do either this sitcom or Y&R, and my agent worked on me till she was blue in the face. Please take Young and Restless. It'll be fun for you, just for a few years, make some money, Well, the moral is, always listen to your agent. I finally did I mourned the loss of the pilot, but it didn't sell. So it truly was the better decision. And 46 years, no, I thought it would be 3 years, which was what my first contract was.
And that's crazy that your agent was actually telling you to do it, because, I mean, even when I was starting, there was sort of a stigma around soaps. I had my manager at the time when I got Guiding Light. He's like, don't go do that. If you go do that, that's it. Like, you can't, don't go do that. It was like it was a bad job, and I'm like, it is a great job. It's been the best decision I ever made.
Absolutely. It is only a stigma for people who are not involved in it.
Yeah.
And you don't really realize what the soap world can do for you. You don't realize when you're coming in how difficult that dialogue each day is going to be until you're really in there, and the machine has to keep going every day. And I mean, we've had famous award-winning actors come on our show for a cameo or something, and we've actually had some people say, what do you mean we're gonna do all this right now? All this?
In one take.
Yeah, and we've had people actually walk off the set and say, I'm so sorry, guys, I just can't do this.
Well, also when
That's crazy.
Because unlike film or nighttime television, we're shooting a whole episode every day.
Right, more
There's
than that.
no time for, second, third, fourth, none of that.
And
you don't sit in your trailer for 3 hours waiting
Right.
for something to happen.
And when we all started, we were, well, maybe not you because you're a little baby, but little baby. No, we had rehearsals, we had time, even just for that one episode. You had some rehearsal and some time, and now we're doing like 2 to 3 episodes. It's crazy to
Time
think that.
is money.
Yes.
But it's crazy. I think back and I'm like, how did we do it then? Like, it was like such a luxury that we had one episode
and
a day.
we didn't realize that.
It's crazy. I'm like, how did that happen?
But also, it's not when people say, how do you memorize 30, 40, 50 pages in a day? And I say, it's not even in a day, because our block of scenes are going to be in 60, 90 minutes. So it's really that,
Yes.
and again, that skill you were talking about, where it's there when you need it, and then you just throw
And
it in
then
the
you
garbage
have to
can.
erase it.
Yeah. Has it changed for you as far as the way you approach the work? Like, do you feel like you have Nikki like the back of your hand now, or do you still have to, do you ever get scripts that you're challenged by and say, oh, that's something new and I don't know how to get from A to B here?
Well, yes, I do think I know Nikki better than anybody. I've known her for 46 years. Sometimes, our writers are based all over the country. They're not all in one room. There is no writer's room. And sometimes maybe a new writer doesn't really know Nikki's voice or how she would do things. And so that's easily changed. Josh Griffith, our executive producer and head writer, he's terrific. He doesn't get upset about change at all. And I'll just change stuff. Eric Braeden changes stuff all the time. Very, very well known.
We've heard. I don't know if it was him when he was here, but we were talking about you
when
never know what to expect.
I remember at Eric's
Christian.
last anniversary celebration, Christian got up there and just said,
Oh
blend.
my God, the funniest thing ever.
Blend, because Eric will you'll walk out on stage and he'll say blend, meaning like, I'm only going to say this one word, so you take whatever words you have and just blend it.
No.
That was so good.
Yeah, so good.
Well, because Eric makes these cuts,
Oh my God, I love it.
so your line now, the end of this line now ends 2 pages later. So all that other stuff, you have to blend. I don't know if the
God.
audience can understand what the
Oh
hell
my
we're
I think
talking
they'll
about.
get that, but it does create a challenge, right? For
It
the
does.
actor playing against Eric, who is tremendous, and it all makes sense, especially for a man as strong and stoic and powerful as Victor, that he doesn't need to say a lot to get his point across. And I understand Eric's impulse and motivation for that, but you really have to stay on your toes
Yes.
to make sure you're responding to what he actually is
You
saying.
have not finished memorizing your lines until you see Eric's edits.
Yeah, it's funny because I have the same, a similar, not really, but Torsten, I work with Torsten on Bold and Beautiful, and I always okay, I look at my lines and I look at his line, I'm like, yeah, I don't know what he's going to say, so I'm going to wait until I get to work to really, and sometimes.
You could well be
But he
talking about Eric there.
By the way, he has great suggestions, and they always work. So I always trust and have faith because he's so brilliant. But
sometimes
anyway.
Eric will just throw the script out the window, and we used to do this back in the day often, where we have a real fight scene. Victor and Nikki are screaming and maybe crying, and it's just horrible. And he would just go off book, and I'm thinking, okay, we're off book now. So I have to listen to what he's saying to me, because we are now literally making it up as we go along.
And do they say cut?
Which
and it's
actually a lot of fans think that we do that regularly.
Yeah.
Not so. But every time he would do that, it was better than the scene that was written.
Wow.
So they would always take that because it was more powerful. Yeah. And we both, we have this chemistry, this elusive chemistry, thank goodness.
Well, and also you've worked together since the beginning, right? You were together from the beginning, or you weren't?
I was there initially. A year before he got there.
Right. So, but you've worked together for so many years. It's like a secondhand language. It's so sweet.
Do you have a secret as to what you think makes chemistry between two actors? Because it's there or it's not.
It's not.
You can't create it. It's either there or it isn't. I've tried to describe it, and the closest thing, which sounds very esoteric, that I could think of is it's when those two people are together, their souls are dancing with each other.
I love that.
And that's the closest. There's probably a better definition, but it's elusive.
But also, I think to not just have that chemistry, but for it to sustain, right? Because you grow and you change, and Eric grows and he changes, but the fact that you guys just keep coming back to each other, it's
It's like a real marriage in many ways.
You find the ways to grow together.
You find ways to, not piss them off. I think now today, both of us know exactly what not to say or do. And we've had many, many years of experimenting.
Yeah, he talked so fondly of you when he was here, actually.
Oh, and I adore him.
I know. It's so sweet. Can we talk about your book?
Sure.
Okay. Mel wrote a book, And it is
In 2020, right?
in 2020.
In 2020, the worst time
for it to come out.
have
I
a
was
book
thinking-
published. There was no,
thinking about this.
you know, book
You couldn't do
tour.
it, no.
There was no fun. I mean, I did stuff on Zoom.
Yes.
But yeah, I
Well,
was
I'm going to be
robbed.
promoting. I'm going
I
to be
was
promoting your
robbed.
book. You're
Okay.
going to have a resurgence because let me tell you, I read this book, and you know, it's God. You see people all the time. I've known of you for so many years, and then I read about you, and I'm like, I want to be in this woman's dressing room. It's the same with Eric. You know, I interviewed him, and I got to do some research on him, and I was like, oh my God, he is so fascinating, and you have had such a life, and you talked about in your book how you really, a set was like your sense of community, your
Yes.
sense of family. And I think like it's really magical that you've had this built-in family around you.
It was the only place. Now we're talking like when I was maybe 4 years old. I started working.
Yeah.
And unlike the environment at my house, you know, how kids are doted on a set, you know, the ADs and everybody fusses and the teacher, everybody's fussing over the kids. And I had never been fussed over before. And so I
Broke
really
my heart. Broke my heart.
wanted to live at that studio. I would have slept on the floor if I could have, because then I knew, okay, now I have to go home to the Addams family. So I think that was part, and I also loved working. I was pushed into it, but I was a willing participant. So that became my oasis, any kind of a soundstage.
So I have a question. Did your cast members read this book? Because okay, but what was the reaction? Because it's so intimate, it is so revealing. And for me, I was just like, oh, I mean, it was painful. And if I was so close to you, I would just be like heartbroken and also just in
People
awe.
were shocked, I will say. And I knew when I wrote it that parts of it would be very shocking. And I've never, until this book, I had certainly never talked about all these different incidents that are in the book.
No.
So my castmates knew nothing.
Yeah.
And why would they?
Right.
So it was shocking that just because they didn't know about any of that. And they took pity on me.
No, but was it nice to have, I guess my question is, was it nice to feel like these people that you were already so close to knew more about you? It just made you feel more connected in some way? I don't know.
Sure, but I didn't really anticipate that. I didn't think about any of that. I wrote the book because for so many years, everybody who really knew me said, you have to write a book someday. And I go, yeah. And then by chance, I met who became my literary agent, and he was not letting this off the hook. He would like, come to town, come to the house, let's have a drink, let's talk about your book. I was like, oh my God, how am I gonna get this guy off me? But he finally goaded me into it, and I sat down and started it. I had a couple of false starts because some of the stories I had to tell were gut-wrenching, and I emotionally could not go on. I would push the computer away because I clearly was not ready to reveal some of that stuff yet. But then about 10 years passed, and then I could.
It was that long.
Then I could, and really the only motivation was everything that I've been through, all the adversity as a child. If I can help one person out there who's going through their own adversity, well, then it's worth it. And it was a wonderful process for me to go through as well, because I can think back on all of these things and not be quite so angry about it.
Well, it takes the air out of it.
Yeah.
And also,
So therapeutic.
yeah, but to help answer that, because and it was interesting though, because we were all reading it at home, right? Because it was literally peak pandemic, and I don't even think we'd gone back to work yet. But I read it knowing and already loving you, and then just having so much respect for how brave and bold you were willing to be. And I wonder, to what you were just saying, if you could have written it 10 years later. I think some of that also just comes with finding the strength to talk about the hard things.
Yeah, I agree.
And also when you, I was fascinated when I think you told Michael Fairman that there were parts that maybe when you were writing them were not so hard, but then when you had to do the audiobook were surprising
Yes. Oh, did I tell him that?
you. Yes.
Forgot that. Yeah, it's true. And I told the audio engineer when we were recording, I said, I see you have Kleenex here, but I'm not going to cry in the retelling of my life. Don't even. And then maybe 8 hours in, I'm like, okay, I was wrong. Sorry, stop tape. Unexpected things that.
That happens to me at work often, where I'll read a scene, and even if it's supposed to be emotional, I'll say, I'm not feeling it as I read it. And sometimes
I hear you.
And then some
Oh,
other
I feel
times,
this way too.
Other times,
feel
I
this
will
way.
read something and I'll say, "Oh, I'm already feeling it just by reading
Yeah.
it." But then I'll get out onto stage, and the words come up, and I'm like, "What's happening?" Right? I'm having an emotional experience, and it surprises you.
Sometimes I have an
Yes.
emotional experience when I least expect it. Something really triggers.
Often,
Yeah.
it could also just be whoever's looking in your eyes.
Well, I was just going to say, sometimes it's the actor that you're working with. It reminds me of a scene years ago. Owen Renfrew was
I love
directing.
Owen.
Oh, I love it.
And I read these scenes, and it was supposed to be emotional, and I just said, Owen, I'm telling you right now, there's not going to be any tears. I just don't feel it. And he walks back in the booth. He says, we'll see. And I was working with Peter Bergman.
Love Peter.
And Peter has some magical way of drawing emotion out of you, even if you don't think you're going to. By the time we taped it, I was sobbing. I was sobbing on a scene. I said, there won't be any tears, guys. But that was all due to Peter.
You've worked with so many directors. You worked with Alfred Hitchcock, who you said was terrifying.
Good segue.
Hey, right?
Well, because
Very
you were
organic.
talking about Owen Renfrew, and I was like, but she's worked with so many directors. I just wonder
By the way,
if one. What?
I hope Owen watches this, because I think he'll really appreciate that we literally went from Owen Renfrew to Alfred Hitchcock.
You said Alfred
I love
Hitchcock
that.
was scary. He was
Yes.
a little scary.
Well,
But
you
were
can
a young
imagine.
kid. You were a young kid too, so I imagine. But you worked with so many. Don Siegel. Which director, out of all those wonderful directors, which director really stood out and gave you the most, I don't know, advice or that really made an impact on you? Out of all those wonderful directors, which director really stood out and gave you the most, I don't know, advice or that really made an impact on you?
Well, I would say Don Siegel and maybe Brian De Palma is a second. He was amazing. I was fortunate to work with so many, the greats that it's a different time now.
Well, they were fortunate to work with you too.
I know.
Well, I don't know about that. I don't know if Clint Eastwood would great.
Oh my God, the Clint Eastwood story. I mean, this is also in the book.
So
but
it was a period drama, yes?
It was a Civil War.
Yeah.
And you're supposed to be, what's happening in the scene?
It was a Gothic tale about a girls' school, like a boarding school. There were 6 of us girls. And Clint Eastwood is a soldier, and he's like almost dead, and then we drag him in and bring him back to health. And when things happen, he has an affair with one of the girls. And it gets very, very messy. I was only 13 at the time, so I was not mixed up in any of that. But we ended up killing him.
As one does.
We ended up chopping off his leg at the knee and killing him with poisoned mushrooms. Very common.
It's been known to happen.
So we're shooting this scene, and we're actually down in Louisiana at this beautiful plantation shooting this. And they had all of the authentic canvas that they used in the Civil War to wrap up the dead. And it's really pretty ghoulish. I shouldn't even be talking about it. So my position we all had our own positions of sewing, and we had the original huge, thick Civil War
I can only
needles.
imagine. Yeah.
It wasn't a little needle like what we have
Because the
today.
fabric was probably
Very,
very
very
thick, right?
yes.
So you needed a...
So my position was where they had to dig a hole to put his
actual
leg in, so it would still look like he is missing that part of his leg. That's where I sat sewing. And to this day, I don't know why. I am prone to doing things like this. I don't remember if we were rolling or not, but I could see his bare leg in that hole. And I have this needle in my hand. And I couldn't help myself. I was just like, bop! I jabbed him in the calf. And of course, he jumps out of the hole and he's running and screaming, there's a spider, there's something bit me, everybody's carrying on. And
That would be like a prank you'd play on me.
I
would
just
never
sat
try to
there
hurt you.
quietly.
Oh.
No, nobody ever knew.
Oh my God.
Until years later,
And you
now
were
I
at the
tell the
Beverly
story.
yes.
I told the story in front of Eastwood at a Publicist Award dinner.
Did he remember?
You know, through the whole story, he was the guest of honor, so he's right in down front center. And I kept looking at him and saying, do you remember that? Remember this? And he can do that steely kind of non-smile, but that was all that he would give me.
Wow.
But I finally confessed. Frank Tobin wanted me to do that.
Is that right?
Funny. That is so funny.
Yeah, pretty crazy.
And bold. I mean, he was like a heartthrob, wasn't he, at that point? At that point, he was younger and, he was gorgeous.
This is the beginning
My
of his
God.
career. It was,
He was so
1970
beautiful.
we shot that. Yeah.
Wait, so after you were up on stage, did you have a moment, a private moment? with
No,
him
we
after
had a
that?
moment before where we had our photo taken, but I don't think Eastwood knew what was coming.
So wait, I know that one of your idols, if not your biggest idol, is Lucille Ball.
Mm-hmm.
Did you ever meet?
We never did. Remember when there was a Sears and Roebuck? Oh, you weren't born here, were you?
I wasn't.
There used to be
But
a
I know-
Sears on Santa Monica,
In
not
Hollywood,
far from
in
here.
East Hollywood, yeah.
And behind that was like a hot dog stand. And whenever my grandmother took me to Sears for whatever, I wanted a hot dog. So we're in the hot dog stand. A man walks in with a Desilu ball cap on, and I saw him talking to my grandmother. I'm at the order desk waiting for my hot dog. I'm like 6. And next thing you know, I guess she told him that I was a working kid, and he came over and started talking to me. And I was pretty blasé about the whole thing. And then he finally said, how would you like to work with Lucille Ball? Which I already was a Lucy fan at 6.
Yeah.
And out of the mouths of babes, to this day, I don't know why, I said, no, thank you.
Not interested.
What?
I said, no, thank you, but at least I said thank you. And I, walked away with my hot dog. So I don't know what, he was a talent scout.
Sure.
So I don't know what I passed up on that. but
Wow.
That's so funny.
Very close.
Well, 6 years old, you never know what's going through your mind. I just want to get my hot dog.
That was what was on my mind.
Yeah.
Not that I've only heard lovely things, but it could have also been maybe she was meant to be someone who lived in your world as just an icon.
I
and an
totally
idol.
agree.
Yeah.
Totally
yeah.
agree.
That's funny you say that. That's true. Because sometimes
Don't
you
touch
meet.
me.
Sometimes you don't want to
Sometimes-
know them.
Right. Sometimes you
that
meet them and
well.
you're really disappointed, and so you never know.
Burst your
but
bubble.
there is a moment in this book where you called this director's secretary to see if you could get
That
career.
was Don Siegel's.
Yeah, that was Don Siegel. It was Don Siegel, and it was for that movie, wasn't it?
I had read that Don Siegel was preparing to do a John Wayne movie called The Juiciest. And I had just worked with him, and I didn't know if there was any kind of a part for me. I called his secretary, Seal Burrows, who had become a good friend of my grandmother's, and asked if I could just have a quick meeting with Mr. Siegel because I feel that I'm at a crossroads and, with my career and I need his advice. I got the appointment. I came in, I sat down, I said basically what I just told you. And he sat there looking at me. Now, this is all bullshit. This is all nonsense. I
know,
just
this is
want-
the thing.
I just wanted
That's
to get
so
the,
brave,
something.
by the way. I know. I could never
He
do that.
finally
I'm
said,
so-
well, I am getting ready to shoot at blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, really? And
I had no idea.
yeah, right. And I got the part, a small part, but it was with John Wayne, one-on-one with John Wayne. And I found out later that until I had walked into his office that day, they basically wanted all of the minor roles to be cameos with very famous people. And until I walked into his office, that part was going to be played by Goldie Hawn.
Wow.
Do you have other pursuits outside of the show? Because, we're on for so many years, and sometimes we get creatively stifled. We want to go do other things. You produce, am I right? No.
No,
No producing.
can't say that.
But you write,
and
obviously.
You've because you're so funny. You've done some sitcoms over the years.
And I love. I mean, I would really. That's really probably why I like to be goofy in our rehearsals. Is I just want to be funny. I want to do comedy. Every now and then, you know, something will come up or it's offered to you, and it's always nice. As much as we love our jobs, our day jobs, it's nice to go off and do something else.
That's right. You had a clothing line and a hair.
Oh my
QVC?
God.
Oh, we got
I don't
lots
think
of notes.
that's not in the book.
It's not in the book.
We did a lot of homework.
I know.
I didn't have
How
to
do you find the time to do that? I mean, when you're working full time, you just do
Guess
it.
we just did.
We
Yeah,
just did it.
I wasn't in charge of the scheduling, so I just go where I'm told to go. Get on this plane, go do that.
It's a lot of work.
That's also, I think that's a completely different skill, right? Because you'd have to be live on camera.
You have to be a
With no script.
salesman.
Yeah.
And I'm not really very good at selling. But it was fun. It was a fun experience. And the hair care line, I had a couple of them. That was fun too. Learned a lot about the ingredients and whatnot.
One of the things we have talked about on this show quite a bit is we love the ability for life-work balance that working in soaps affords you, right? We both have youngest children and if I can't be there in the morning to drive them to school, well, that means I had an early call, so I can definitely be there to pick them up. And also that we're here in town, and it is the closest thing to a 9 to 5.
Right.
So yeah,
We're
everyone.
not halfway across the globe shooting a movie.
Right.
And
And then hustling to get the next one.
they're
as soon
not
as that
going to
one's
be
over.
real thrilled that you bring a baby into that trailer, you know.
No.
But
no.
I'm just, for mothers, when I had my kids, my dressing room became their nursery. And nobody had a problem. Bill, Bell, Lee, they all were thrilled that the baby was there. What other job as an actor can one get that kind of accommodation?
You mentioned before we started, you mentioned that you, after writing your book, you thought of all the stories you didn't tell.
I have, yes.
So have you thought about
Part 2?
maybe part 2?
I don't know if I have another one in me.
So much
It's
work.
hard work. You
By the
don't
way,
realize that.
I do realize it. I get it. We've been doing this little side hustle here for about 2 months now, and it's hard enough juggling my career and my family life. So adding a third project in is super fun, and I'm grateful for the opportunity.
I am too, but I just said you produce, right? It's like I think it was someone else that produces. I'm like, hard to keep it all straight.
Yeah. We all have that soap brain.
What's funny is when I first started to write the book, I did think that there would be a sequel, and I had already in my head named, of course the publisher didn't go along with that, the first book I wanted to be called Looking for Normal, and then the sequel would be Still Looking. But they wouldn't go for that title. What are you gonna do? So now I don't know if I'm gonna do a sequel. But yeah, there's
really?
lots of stories. I've got a Paul Newman story. I've got
Can you tell us your Paul Newman story?
No, I know.
You're gonna save that for the book.
I think what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to convince you to write the book.
Yeah, where's the guy that came out to convince you to write the first one? We're gonna call him up.
Oh yeah, he's in Pittsburgh.
I'm serious. In fact, the girl who was doing my hair and makeup today, Carly, I said, she's a reader. And I said, you gotta get this book. I think you're gonna love it. So anyway,
So
you.
it's really good.
let's talk a little bit more about Nikki. I know you recently had your latest bout of Nikki's recently fallen off the wagon again, but it wasn't her fault.
Oh yes.
Now,
That wasn't her fault this time.
well, but, I mean, I love soaps, but someone put it in your IV,
Yeah,
yes?
kids, don't try this at home, okay?
When I heard that, I was like,
literally,
wow.
that she had, I'm like half dead on the cot, and she has straight vodka
You're like, oh, that feels good.
being poured through a drip into an IV
oh,
into
this
my
feels
arm.
familiar.
Now, I believe that would kill you.
yes.
Yes.
So again,
Creative liberties.
yeah.
Great.
But it was a great storyline. I was so happy. I love to play a drunk Nikki.
Well, you're fantastic at it, but
Why, thank you.
No, but I think it's
But this time was a joy because it wasn't her fault.
right.
She was drugged.
She was a victim.
But then it sort of did it then lead her down the road of now I can't control myself.
Yeah. I mean, she got the taste of it again.
Right,
you know,
yeah.
it was in her veins.
Sure, literally.
And so then, then it became disastrous, and she was sloppy and no good.
So one of the things I remember, and I'm curious, I want to hear about how your acting process, if you will, of playing that, because I remember being in an acting class once and learning that to play drunk, the key is to try to play sober.
Underdo it.
Because when you're sober, I don't have to think twice about just grabbing this cup. But if I were drunk, I might have to be like
Right.
a little more focused. So what are your tricks to get there? You get drunk.
No, that would be very helpful, but then I wouldn't be able to remember how that was. Well, as I just said, try to underplay it, because there's nothing worse than an overdone drunk.
I know.
And then that's not even watchable. You don't enjoy watching that person. So what I do, I don't know where I came up with this formula, but when you're drunk, yes, you have to be more mindful about picking up that cup, but you also don't have full capacity of what you're doing or what you're saying, and your tongue is a little
Heavier.
heavier, but not too heavy. It's a combination of things that I just try to do. And there was did you see our episode with just Peter and me, like our Days of Wine and Roses episode?
I would love to see
It was
that.
the whole episode was just us. And I am drunk as a skunk in this hotel room, and he is high on pain pills. And
With you?
Yes.
I've got to see.
You've got to see this episode, and this is the result, or you will discover why we are there together doing that. But it was so fun, and we couldn't, in between takes, we couldn't let that go. I still had to be a little out of it. So I was out of it all day, and so was he. But you can't stop and start that kind of thing.
No, that's
Because
too
it's-
hard.
Have you ever had to play drunk?
Yes, I have, and the same. It's
You just
you enunciate
you
a
have
little
to
bit
just
more.
like loosen your body,
You enunciate some if you're trying,
but not too much.
Yeah,
I tried something.
Yeah.
I had to be drunk last year, and I tried. Sometimes you swing and miss too, right?
Yeah.
I was like, I'm just going to spin around, and I got myself dizzy.
Oh.
But then I was literally
Yeah.
like this, and the room was actually spinning in the take, and I was like, I guess this works, but it's not fun. It's not the way I want to
You know
continue
what?
to do this.
Greg and I love to play games.
Oh.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
and that you are, you're really smart. You skipped a grade when you were like second grade or something like that.
Third grade.
Third grade. And you have done a lot of these game shows and won a lot of money for charities.
Game shows,
Man,
games are the
the
best.
heyday of game shows when really Pyramid and Password.
Hollywood
and
Squares is
all
right
of
there at
that.
TV City. You gotta go do it.
We did all of that. And I love games. Pyramid was my favorite game because there was something in my brain that understood how to win that game. And yes, I did win a lot of money for our contestants, and it was just a thrill.
Also, I think the adrenaline of like the ticking clock. I think is
Oh, it's
something
all
that-
great.
Yeah.
And that was in the early days with Dick Clark.
Yeah.
It's wonderful. I could have done that every day of my life. My main things every morning of my life, I play Sudoku, and then I do my crossword puzzle. But that's after all my New York Times on my phone.
Yes, Wordle.
Spelling bee, Wordle,
Connections.
strands, connections,
I do the
letterboxed. That's my
every
lineup.
Every day. I also do the mini crossword on the
I
New
do
York
too.
Times,
I
'cause
mean,
the big one
there's
is like-
something wrong with us, clearly. We can't get enough.
I can't.
I feel like I want to, because I'll do Wordle and Spelling Bee, but I also have been like aware of like spending too much time on my phone, which I've certainly been apt to do.
But not if you're puzzling, then
I
it's
guess.
okay.
Yeah. But I just feel like it's the screen. Like I want to
Oh.
buy myself like a crossword book and just start doing it pen and paper.
Yeah, I have those. Online is better, I think.
I guess.
It
yeah.
is. It's
more.
easier.
Except for you can't play Sudoku online because they eliminate a factor of error that they automatically delete the number. I don't know if you play
I don't know
Sudoku.
Sudoku, do
Okay,
you?
never mind. It's convoluted.
But now I'm going to look it
But,
up because you've
if you're
piqued my
gonna-
interest.
If you're going to tackle Sudoku, please, pencil and paper.
Pencil and paper.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'll do it. Do you ever give them any ideas? Do you ever have ideas for your character and run them past?
I feel like
Josh?
you don't.
Well, I think I know better than to, because you
Yes,
know,
why?
I'm not
I
going to
think I know
suggest
why.
a story and then be mad that they didn't do it.
Execute it the way you in your head. Yes,
Yeah, and
I've
who
had that
am I
before.
to think that I can? I mean, writing a soap is the hardest job in the world.
Oh yeah.
I also,
I am merely an actor.
yes, I feel like my job as a
Nearly.
piece of a puzzle is to be that piece of the puzzle, but not to say to the puzzle master, hey, this is the puzzle you should make.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, don't get me wrong. It's like anytime someone pitches an idea to like another actor, I'm like, oh yeah, that's great. You should
Go
talk
tell
to
them.
Josh.
I know.
I'm not going to tell them, but you should. Yeah.
The only time years ago that I thought Eric hated this idea, I thought it would be an interesting arc for something goes wrong financially in the business world, and the Newmans lose everything. This was way before Schitt's Creek, but the same kind of an idea. And let's see how the Newman family can navigate in a new world with nothing. They have no money. What? Eric?
What? No, that would be terrible. No, we're Newmans. I'm Victor Newman.
Okay, I shouldn't have told him. But
That would have been fun to watch.
Pretty good
I
imitation.
know,
by the
and
way.
then you wait around long enough, then Schitt's Creek comes.
You wanted to get your comedy, is what you wanted, and that would have been comedy.
Probably that
Yeah.
was my underlying. Yeah,
Yeah.
yes.
That would have been funny, though. It sounds very funny.
I mean, can you see Nikki without her jewels or her hairdresser or her clothes, like, having to shop at, I don't know.
Sorry,
well, for
Walmart
her
shoppers.
character,
Yes,
who's
yes,
used
yes,
to the
yes.
finer things.
Well, I do get the aspirational idea of people who watch the show, and I think they would be along for that ride, but it's like they want to see Nikki the way they're used to seeing Nikki.
I know.
But, I also think they love you through thick and thin, and watching you go through challenges, they'd have been along for that ride.
Yeah, I mean, I'm so fortunate to have such a fan base. I mean, daytime fan base is incredible.
just
very
so-
loyal.
yes.
They are very loyal.
They're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
Was there ever a point in your 46 years where you were like, I think I'm good? Because, I mean, I always kind of live with that, oh, they could fire me any day sort of mentality.
No,
But
I never think that
you
way.
never think that way. I knew it.
I've always been very confident. Even as a child, I was a very confident person
It sounds
for
like
no
it.
good reason. Nobody taught me that.
No, I
Nobody
know.
guided me. I had nothing. But I remember being 3 years old and I was teaching myself how to read and doing puzzles on the floor in the corner of the den. Just not at all worried about my future. Or I knew I would be an actress. The piano thing, that kind of took me off a little detour, but
Yeah, there were a couple years in your school days where you weren't acting for a minute.
right, the awkward teenage years.
Yeah.
A good time to take a break.
Yeah, that's when I focused more on the piano during that time.
I think it's a hard time to, especially if you are a super talented like child actor, to navigate self-awareness and puberty and all of
Very
the
hard.
Yeah.
And then just, physically, you might be cute as a button when you're 6, and then when you're 14, not so much.
No.
So that's hard. That knocks a lot of kids out forever.
Right.
Really.
Wasn't your first job back into it after that small break when it was the part where you gained some weight? You started eating because you read about it in the trades? Is that
That I was 13. That was the Beguiled with Clint Eastwood.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I really had no right to be working at age 13, but there you go. Well, yeah. Well, that's
wasn't
another
that when you-
story. I feel
'cause
like
you
I'm
gained
keeping
weight?
everybody here with all of my long-winded stories.
No, I love your stories.
Why- we
There's
want-
so
we
many
want
of
you
them in this
here.
book.
We invited you to be here, yes?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's right. You're here to tell these stories.
And this I have to hand to my grandmother, which is not often that I do that. A Clint Eastwood movie was going to be made at Universal, directed by Don Siegel. It was going to be a Civil War piece. And this I'm reading, literally reading in Variety. And without any prayer of an audition, without them having any interest in me at all, they don't know who I am. My agent has not given me any interview. I put that Variety down and I started eating because it said in there, everything has been cast except for Abigail, the chubby girl Abigail. And I just started eating like a fiend, confident that I was going to play that part. And I didn't care if I had to be chubby. They said it's the only part left, so okay, I'm late to the party, but you know, I want to be that
I just
person.
can't believe this.
I want to.
So
I want to read that in the trades.
I gained 20 pounds so fast, unbelievably
I know. I
fast.
think you said like 2 weeks. Or something. It was like crazy.
Yes. So, and then in the meantime, my agent calls with an interview for that part. My grandmother took me up to Western Costume, and we rented a Civil War outfit right down to the boots and everything. And it was a size small, so I really looked like I was bursting out of it.
Wow.
I go to Universal for the interview. It's, you know, it's not a casting director. It's Don Siegel. You're going in Don Siegel's office. I went in. I'm standing in front of him looking just like a mess. And we did a few lines of dialogue, and he said, "You have the part," which happens so rarely in our business.
I know.
And I think the costume kind of pushed him over a little bit.
Wow.
So amazing. And there's other little tidbits, like you were up for Marsha Brady. I mean,
Oh,
it was
yeah.
between you and Maureen and McCormick.
And
I'm like,
it was
oh my
something
God.
like an inch difference in our height or whatever it was, because Sherwood Schwartz, who created that show, I remember this in the interview, in the casting office, they literally had a pencil starting down here at the bottom and slowly going up like this, because Schwartz wanted the kids to be exactly, your height seemed to determine everything.
We can
I
sort of
was either
imagine
too
the
short or too
staircase. Yeah. So wait, do you feel like your experience as a child actor, warts and all, does that or has that influenced the way you view kids on the show, or the parents of the kids on the show?
Yes.
When kid actors come in.
Yes, more the parents than the kids, because unfortunately, I think a lot of the kids don't want to be there. And when I see a kid who loves it, I know it immediately. It's like, this kid wants to be here. They're a good actor. They're not here because their parents want their kids to be famous. So I will identify them immediately when they first come in. And, you know, I can't say anything. I have spoken to some of the mothers about various things, and they listen to me because they know that I was once 3 and on a set. So I
mean, it's
probably
very
am stepping
specific.
out of line, but if
don't
I
think
see
so.
something,
Yeah.
I have to say something.
Well, I'm sure you must feel not a sense of obligation, but protectiveness, because you couldn't do that for yourself, even though you wanted to be there. So you know what that looks like.
Right.
Yeah.
But the parent, you know, and what that looks like.
That's always the wild card.
That's hard.
The parent.
Do you have any regrets?
I'd have to think about that. I'm sure I do.
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably not anything to do with my career
Yeah.
or my
Yeah.
life or
Yeah.
my children. You know, I might still think about 20 years ago, maybe I had a bad moment and made somebody feel bad.
Yeah.
Things like that.
Yeah.
That I should have apologized for, but I didn't. Now it's too late. That kind of
That
thing.
kind of thing. Yeah, yeah,
Are
yeah.
you
the
good
important
at
things.
are you good at forgiving yourself for those things?
I still carry them with me, but in an effort to try to improve my behavior today. And I think I'm much more cognizant of that because of that.
I don't want to make light of this because that's a real thing, and I think something we all, I'm sure, have dealt with. But we had Scott Clifton on the show, and he was talking about the interesting level of fame that we have, where you can go working as someone who is well known as a soap star. You can go days and weeks probably in your life and feel like you have autonomy and privacy.
Especially here in LA.
Especially here in LA, where even if someone recognizes you, maybe they know that it's LA and they're not going to come over and bother you. Versus being Brad Pitt or Tom Cruise, where their whole life is that they are on. And Scott was talking about the experience of like having a bad day and maybe not being as effusive or generous with a waiter at a restaurant. And then at the end of the meal, the waiter saying, "I love you" on your show, and then feeling bad. And I said to him, I said, well, I've had those moments too, and remember that we're entitled to be human beings who can be joyous and outgoing, and also be people who have days where they are not feeling as friendly. But it is.
But today with social media, you're not going to get away with that for very long, because then all of a sudden, oh, he did this, she did that, she's a horrible person.
Yes. When in reality, and even when I read that kind of stuff, I'm like, unless I'm hearing about that on the regular about this person. But I think what I was trying not to make light of, but I'm curious, is if you and Aretha ever buried the hatchet.
Oh no, she refused. I tried.
Yeah.
No, she's got a good memory.
But also, but I also think like.
But I can't blame her, because I was a little snot. Should we say about what?
Yeah, we should talk
I'm
about
sorry.
it.
Yeah, let's talk about
So this was probably my first or second year of YNR. I really had not learned how to treat my fans. I was still young and stupid, and it had been a long day on the set. I'm tired and cranky. Of course, I stop at the newsstand because I have to buy all my magazines.
I remember that newsstand you used to go to.
Yes,
I know. I know. I remember that one too.
So I'm leafing through some magazine, and I had noticed that there was this woman a few feet away from me, and you just kind of get that second you know when. And I'm thinking, oh God, she's probably going to come over. I mean, I was just such a brat. And sure enough, tap, 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 and I just kind of spun around. And she said, she was very polite. She says, don't you play Nikki on The Young and the Restless? Yes, yes, yes. I was just awful. And she extends her hand to me and she says, Aretha Franklin, my pleasure.
I would have died.
And I look at her face and I'm still holding her, and I'm like, oh, fuck.
It's okay.
It is Aretha.
You can drop F-bombs.
It is Aretha. And I said, oh. And then all of a sudden, I'm trying to tap dance my way out of trouble. And many years later, we find ourselves on a red carpet in New York City. We're there for the Emmys.
The pictures.
And she, I don't know if she was hosting, she was making an appearance as well. And the photographers wanted to pair Aretha with me for some photos, the two of us. We haven't seen each other since 30 years ago when I was so horrible to her.
And are you thinking at this moment, oh my God, does she remember?
Yeah, I mean, if it had been up to me, I probably would not have sidled over to her to have my picture taken, but that's what the press wanted us to do. So we're smiling, and we're both talking through our smiles. She says, haven't seen you since that time at the newsstand. And I'm like, oh, yes, again, I'm so sorry, Aretha. That was just awful, and I really want to apologize. Where's Victor? I want my picture made with him. The way she said it, made, not taken, made. I want the picture. She would have, and she turned and huffed and walked away from me. She never, ever forgave me, for good reason. I should not have been forgiven. And it was a great lesson for me.
Oh my God.
Great lesson.
Yeah.
But also in that moment, like that you're smiling and trying to make amends. You're like, this is my moment. I gotta apologize.
Yeah, she wasn't having it.
I disagree, though.
my
I think
God.
yes, she's the queen of soul, but you should have been forgiven. You are entitled to have a bad day.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, she'd be hard pressed to say that she's perfect all the time, right? Because, we're all.
Yeah, and I wish you guys had been there.
Aretha, listen, we need to talk.
Let's talk.
I think I feel like I remember an Emmys, I don't know if it was the same one, where she did remember how they used to do the clip shows of each nominated show? Mm-hmm. She might have introduced YNR at one of the Emmys. I wonder if I was there, and had I known all this, we would have had a little talk.
Oh my God. Well, thank you.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here.
I'm sorry I've been gabbling on so much.
Oh,
No, it's good. We want a lot. We can edit it, whatever.
I don't want to edit it. This
I
is
know.
gold we have.
It's been amazing. Really. Thank you so much.
It's the MTS Marathon.
There we go. We're going to have you come back for part 2.
Yeah.
After you write the book.
Write the second part.
Oh, no, I can't make that agreement.
And cut.
Oh my God, my brain hurts.
Do we keep